old fans crash out, lose their mind, and scream white privilege. It is hilarious watching these people melt down over the most minuscule things, over the smallest little things. Watching these folks melt down, go hysterical, lose their mind, rant, rave, complain. Oh my God.
In 2025, Google released its annual year in search list, the 10 most searched athletes in the United States. Sophie Cunningham came in at number 7. She was the only female athlete in the top 10. And she just knocked Caitlin Clark out of the top spot among women. Let that sink in for a second. So when Adidas looked at their roster and asked, "Who do we build a shoe around?" they weren't guessing.
We've got Sophie Cunningham getting her own shoe and everybody losing their pathetic little minds over it. Well, not everybody. Old WNBA fans, old guard WNBA fans are losing their mind over the white girl pointing at her brand new shoes. Yeah, that's what...
They had the data, and the data pointed right at Sophie Cunningham. The reaction to that decision hasn't exactly been quiet. A very specific group of people cannot stand it. They were furious. Comments flooded in. Threads went up. Hot takes got posted. And every single one of those opinions proved exactly one thing. Sophie Cunningham is living inside their heads rent-free. And she has been for a while now. Sophie Cunningham just got her own shoe. A player-exclusive colorway of the Adidas Crazy Energy, dropping July 24th for $120. Pink to white gradient.
Shoe, a PE for Sophie Cunningham got announced. A player exclusive, player edition, whatever PE stands for. She's got her own kind of shoe style. It's coming out. And man, these old guard bitter fans, they are collapsing right in front of our very eye. They're going through a mental breakdown, a psychotic break right before.
Light blue mesh panels, orange accents on the midsole, her name on it, her design. And the internet absolutely lost its mind. To understand why people are so worked up about this shoe, you have to understand who Sophie Cunningham has become over the last 12 months. Because this isn't a player who suddenly appeared out of nowhere. She's been in the WNBA since 2019. She spent 6 seasons in Phoenix. She moved to Indiana in 2024. And for most of that time,
Cunningham, the blonde bomber, is coming out with shoes. These are so dope. These are her PE colorways coming out with Adidas. Oh my God, Sophie Cunningham, man, just keeps getting better and better by the day, man. I hope these are for men as well, man, because I would like to cop these, man. These are hella dope. Very Sophie type of shoes, man. Like, I don't know. I just look at these and I just see Sophie just all over.
She was a good rotation player. Tough, reliable, a solid three-point shooter. Someone who makes winning plays. Useful, but not the person everyone was talking about. Then came the moment that changed everything. During an altercation involving Caitlin Clark, an opposing player got into it with her and Cunningham stepped in. When she was told to stop pointing, she kept pointing for a full 22 seconds. Staff had to physically redirect her toward the bench. Both players picked up technicals, and the clip hit the internet like a freight train. It reached the WWE. It reached the White House. It became the meme of the WNBA season. People overlaid it with music, with movie scenes, with everything else imaginable. And just like that, Sophie Cunningham became one of the most recognizable athletes in women's sports. Not because of a stat line, but because she stood her ground and kept pointing when everyone expected her to back down. The shoe itself is genuinely good-looking. The upper starts hot pink at the toe and fades gradually to
take this next. Like what? Because you know, how do we grow the points? What could it be? Do you know what I mean? Have you given this any thoughts?
In their feelings and upset, they always in their feelings and upset if anything that's connected to Caitlin Clark has anything positive going on. But when it comes to shoes, y'all do know, and I'm talking to all the people way in the back that just don't understand. Y'all do know that this is business, right? And when it comes to WNBA players, right? Sophie Cunningham is top 5 in followers on every platform when it comes to WNBA players. So yes, she should be one of the
white near the heel. Light blue details run through the mesh side panels and show up again in the 3 stripes branding on the tongue and heel. Orange accent hits on the midsole and outsole give it contrast. It's a bold design, loud, unapologetic, very on brand for a player who once stood at a free throw line in her former home city and pointed at an entire arena after sealing a road win for her new team. The shoe looks exactly how you'd expect a Sophie Cunningham shoe to look. And here's something worth noting. Adidas hasn't had a WNBA player with a signature-level shoe since Candace Parker. Cunningham is the first player in years to get this kind of treatment from them.
That's not a small thing.
The moment this announcement dropped, the most common argument against it showed up instantly. She averages around 8 points a game. A career scoring average
provide for you guys as players to kind of help you try to filter through some of the hate and negative things that come through on social media?
I think that I don't know what our league does to help with that. If they really do anything, you can put out statements as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you're in an entertainment business. That's when mental toughness comes in. If you're going to live by praise, you're going to die by the hate. And so I think that's on the individual person to have mental toughness. Some people can deal with it, some people can't. And I think you can see the ones who can. And unfortunately, there are some who can't. And it's not beneficial to them. But you can't control what other people say or what other people do. All you can do is control yourself, how you treat people. Speak up, and support people who, maybe don't have a voice or don't have the courage to do that. But, it's one of those things.
Of 8.0 points per game, going back across her entire WNBA career. And critics ran with that number like it was the final word on whether Sophie Cunningham deserves a signature shoe. You've seen the comments. There are better players who deserve this more. Some ran longer pieces about it. Some turned it into a full debate on social media. And a chunk of them were very, very specific about which players they thought should have gotten shoes instead of her, specific in a way that revealed exactly what was actually driving the argument. Let's talk about that part directly because it isn't subtle. The backlash against Sophie Cunningham getting this shoe connects to the same current that's been running through WNBA commentary for 2 years now. Some of the criticism is genuine, real sports argument about marketing priorities and visibility exists, and it's fair to have that conversation. But a significant portion of the hate directed at Cunningham, at her popularity, at the attention she draws.
Because this player in her career has averaged 8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 1.4 assists. Shoes used to mean something. It was like you are at the top of your game in your sport. Players like Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. They're actually doing well in the sport. In the same way that in corporate America, white men utilize their privilege of being white men to continue to climb the ladder, Sophie Cunningham has used her proximity to Caitlin Clark and her racist fan base in order to propel herself forward when people who actually
comes from people who are specifically upset that she and Caitlin Clark get the spotlight. And when they say undeserving, what they mean is more specific than stats. Caitlin Clark has spoken publicly about this, saying the racism coming from her own fan base wasn't acceptable. Sue Bird has said fans were being racist toward WNBA players long before Clark arrived, and that Clark was being used as a pawn in a culture war she didn't create. That's the environment. That's the backdrop. And when Sophie Cunningham announces a shoe, and the first response from a loud section of the internet is she's undeserving, that word is doing a lot of work. Because here's the actual argument for whether Cunningham deserves this shoe, and it has nothing to do with points per game. She's the WNBA's second most popular player right now. She was the most searched female athlete in the United States on Google last year. She has a viral moment that spread further than almost any single WNBA clip in the history of the sport. She has an authentic, documented relationship with
This is going to be fun. Everyone gets one, and I have like 6-7 pairs here.
Oh, 6-7? Oh, 6
See? They're real. They're real. Only All-Stars wear them. That's why mine are still in the box.
Sophie Cunningham?
I'm busy.
Wow.
Adidas going back to 2022. She switched to them from Nike and has been promoting the brand at every opportunity since, including on national television and across her own social media. Popularity is the product. And Sophie Cunningham, with 8 career points per game and a 22-second pointing clip that reached every corner of the internet, is more famous right now than the majority of WNBA players who have better statistical resumes on paper.
They're charging $120 for a role player. I see why Adidas is always coming in last place. I mean, look, in this league, let's be real. The number 1 trending female athlete last year on Google was Sophie Cunningham. On Google. And that was before the viral meme that took over the planet.